The trade war between the United States and China explained with beer. Let's say you have China beer and USA beer. USA beer costs $1 and China beer costs 25 cents. The average beer drinker would go, "Wow, that Chinese beer is cheap. I'll take 12. Pretty soon, most customers are drinking China beer, so USA beer has to close down its brewery and lay off thousands of workers. The free market beer drinker would say it's USA beer's fault for the factory closing. If they would have made better beer, the factory would have stayed open. However, that $1 USA beer charged had to cover a lot of expenses. USA beer paid their workers $20 an hour with benefits. They use high quality, regulated ingredients. They had to use environmentally friendly brewing equipment, and they had to pay a high interest rate to the bank for the money they borrowed to buy the equipment. And on top of that, they had to pay for taxes and a brewing license. By the time all their expenses are paid for, USA Beer is only profiting 10 cents per beer they sell. However, China Beer gets to play by very different rules. China Beer's brewers work for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and they have to sleep in the factory and only get paid $2 an hour. They use totally unregulated ingredients. Yum yum, asbestos flavor. They can use cheaper equipment that pollutes like crazy and pour chemicals into the river. And the Chinese government commands banks to loan to the brewery at super low interest rates. And instead of paying taxes, the Chinese government gives them a 10-cent subsidy for every beer they produce, which means China beer may cost 30 cents to make, but they can sell it for 25 cents because of the 10-cent subsidy from the government. The Chinese government subsidizes China beer because their goal is to flood the American market with cheap Chinese beer. That way, USA beer will be forced to close, giving China a beer monopoly. The Chinese government does everything to tilt the playing field towards China brewery, and the American brewery is forced to compete in a rigged, very unfair system. Well, at least USA beer can sell their beer in China. Nope. The Chinese government blocks USA beer from selling in China unless they brew their beer in China, team up with a local Chinese brewery, hand over their secret recipe to the Chinese brewery, and all their equipment designs to China. So how can USA beer compete? They have to move their brewery to China. So why do Americans agree to this deal? You, the consumer, get to enjoy a 25-cent beer instead of a beer that costs $1. The American brewer who opens a factory in China gets to pay lower wages and keep higher profits. And then those profits are used to give as donations to politicians to keep this system in place.